Good morning. Today, let's start with a new chapter, that is chapter 5, data handling. First, let's see and understand what is data. Numerical information is called an observation, and collection of all these observations is called data. In short, you can say that data is nothing but a numerical information which we collect or gather for a specific, a definite purpose. Yes, in day to day life, we collect many such information for some purpose. So that is called data. Now, data is usually collected in the context of a situation that we want to study. Now, this data which is collected, that is generally collected in respect to the situation that we want to study. For example, suppose we want to do the survey that in 8th standard, in all the section of 8 standards, total how many girls are there and total how many boys are there. Yes, this is a situation which we want to study. For that, data is usually collected. For example, a teacher may like to know average weight of students in her class. To find this, she will write weights of all the students in her class, organize the data in a systematic way, and then interpret it accordingly. Example is given that suppose a teacher want to find that in her class what is the average age of the students of her class. So she will write weights of all the students of her class, and then after writing the weight, she will organize the data in a systematic way. Means she will arrange the data in proper order and then interpret it accordingly. And then as she needs to find the average height, she will find the average height, or else if any other thing she needs to study, she can do accordingly. Data is represented graphically to give it a close idea of what it represents. So we represent this data on graph also. You can say the data is represented graphically, so that whatever information is collected, that gives a clear and close idea that what it wants to say. Yes, we have learned different types of graphs in earlier classes. In earlier classes, we have learned different types of graph. Let's recall once. First, pictograph. Pictorial representation of data using symbols. This is a graph where in the graph pictures are shown, represented, and using that pictures of data, symbols of pictures, we make out what the data is informing us. For example, you can see here down a pictograph is shown where in July how many cars were sold, in August, in September month, that is shown, and one car is equal to 100 cars. This one car symbol stand for 100 cars. So in the month of July there are 100 and half car, means half of 100 is 50. So in month of July 250 cars are sold. In month of August 3 cars are shown, means 300 cars are sold. And in month of September 4 cars are shown, means 4 into 100, that is 400 cars are sold. Second type of graph is bar graph. A display of information using bars of uniform width, their heights being proportional to the respective values. Means in such type of graph, we show the information using the bars. Now whatever bars we are making, we are drawing, their width is uniform. All the bars will have the uniform width. and their heights will be proportional to their respective values. So whatever bar is representing whatever category, and that category representing respective value will be proportional to the height. For example, you can see here that a bar graph is shown. Yes, different years are given, that is from 2003 to 2004, then 2004 to 2005, 2005 to 2006, 2006 to 2007, and 2007 to 2008. These are the academic years which we are taking on horizontal axis. And on vertical axis, we have taken number of students of class 8. Yes, that is 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300 and 350. Then according to the given respective values in the of the academic year, we draw the bars. Now you can see in the figure, in the graph, that these bars, these all bars, their width, this width is equal, uniform. It is not that one bar is thick and one bar is narrow. So you have to take care that the bar are having uniform width, and also the gaps between the bars should be uniform. Next, showing two sets of data simultaneously. It is all useful for comparison of data. Means this is also one type of bar graph, but this bar graph we use to compare the data of given two sets. Yes, and that two sets of data are compared together. Means suppose that if you want to check the temperatures of two cities of last week, if you want to check the rainfall of last 5 years of two different cities, then such type of graph is useful. So it is a bar graph where two sets of data together are represented, and it is useful for comparison of data. Let's see the example. Yes, in the question, percentage win in ODIs by top cricket teams is given. Now this, it is given for World Cup also, and for simple ODIs also it is given. So two different types are given, World Cup wins and win of other ODIs. And here you can see that in the graph on horizontal axis we represent the different top cricket teams, that is it is given, you can see South Africa, here you can see South Africa, Australia, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, England, all these are different cricket teams. Now these three cricket teams are represented on horizontal axis, and on vertical axis we take percentage win in ODI. Yes, this is we are taking on vertical axis. After that we compare both the things, that is two different things, World Cup is given and other ODIs are given. So we will make two bars together, one bar for World Cup and one bar for your other ODIs for each country. And whatever you are taking these two bars for one country representation, that we have to write here up, you will show here two different bars, you have to select two different sign, one plain and one some dotted. Here you can just make lines, different one lines like that. Here you can use two different colors also and represent the bars. So this is double bar graph. These all graphs we have learned in earlier classes. Now what is in our syllabus for that? The next topic is organizing the data. Now how this data should be arranged, organized. So data mostly available to us in an unorganized form is called raw data. the data which we are getting, yes, that mostly is in an unorganized form. Unorganized means it is not arranged properly. Yeah, you can say it is not arranged in order, and such type of data is called raw data. In order to draw meaningful inferences from any data, we used to organize the data systematically. So, to represent this data, show graphically this data. Yes, first of all, we organize the data systematically, means we arrange the given data in proper order. Frequency gives the number of times that a particular entry occurs. Yes. Now what is frequency? Frequency is the number of times a particular entry occurs. Yeah, number of times the observation is repeated. Yeah, occurs. That is called frequency. Raw data can be grouped and presented systematically through group frequency distribution. Now this raw data, that is unorganized data, we can make the groups of this data and present it in a proper order in using group frequency distribution. Next is grouping data. Now how to group the given raw data? Sometimes we have to deal with a large data. If we make a frequency distribution table for each observation, then the table would be too long. So, for our convenience, we make group of observations like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 and so on, and obtain a frequency distribution of the number of observations falling in each group. Now, how to group the data? Means sometimes very large data is given. In such a case, we prepare a frequency distribution table in which we make groups according to the question. For our convenience, we are making the group of observations. Like suppose we have to see which is the lowest observation given in the data and which is the highest observation given in the data. According to that, we make the groups. Like suppose 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 and so on till the highest observation is reached. And then after first column in the frequency distribution table, we will write these groups, and in the second column we will write the frequency. Means in the first group, that is, for example, here we have taken as 0 to 10. From in the first group 0 to 10, whatever number of observations fall in this group, we will write it as the frequency of first group. Similarly, 10 to 20, whatever number of observations are falling in that group, we will write it as the frequency of second group. In this way, we prepare a frequency distribution table. Each of such groups is called class interval or class. Yes. Now the groups which we are making, so that we are able to do the work easily. Yes. So large data, to present it in a easy way and convenient way, we make groups, and these groups which we are making, that is called class interval or class. So each of such groups is called class interval or class. The common observation will belong to the higher class, such as in 0 to 10, 10 to 20, the observation 10 belongs to 10 to 20 and not to 0 to 10. Now, suppose you know that when we are making the groups are continuous, means one number is repeated in each class interval. Now, when the observation belongs to the higher class, and suppose in the first we have taken here two class intervals, that is 0 to 10 and 10 to 20. Suppose our observation is 10. Now where to keep this observation? In 0 to 10 class interval or 10 to 20 class interval. So in such a case, we put the observation 10 in the higher class, that is in 10 to 20 and not in 0 to 10. So we have to count it in the higher class. In a class interval 20 to 30, the lower class limit is 20 and the upper class limit is 30. Yes, now this class interval which is made, in that the lowest observation is your lower class limit. Here you can see from 20 to 30. So this is your lower class limit and 30 is your upper class limit. The difference between the lower class limit and upper class limit is called class width or class size of the class interval. Now the difference between the class limit, upper class limit and lower class limit is called class width or class size of the class interval. Suppose we take the class is 20 to 30. Now the difference means, this is your upper limit and this is your lower limit. So when we subtract 30 minus 20, that is equal to 10. So 10 is the class width or class size of the given class interval. Next topic, bars with a difference. It is called histogram. Yes. To represent a grouped frequency distribution graphically, we represent the groups of observations, that is class intervals, on the horizontal axis and the frequencies of the classes along the vertical axis. Also, there is no gap between the bars. Thus, the graphical representation in this manner is called histogram. Now, to represent a grouped frequency distribution, yes, the table which we prepare after grouping the observations, yes, when we prepare that table, now to represent it graphically, we represent the class intervals on the horizontal axis and the frequencies of the classes along the vertical axis. And moreover, there should be no gap between the bars which we are drawing, and such type of graphical representation is called histogram. To draw a histogram, we use the following steps. Now, how to draw a histogram? So, you have to see what are the steps to draw the histogram. First, we draw two perpendicular axes. Yes. First, we have to draw two perpendicular axes, that is x-axis and y-axis. We mark the class limits on the horizontal axis, class intervals, because class limits are in the class intervals only. So, we mark that class limits on the horizontal axis, that is x-axis. We mark the frequencies on the vertical axis and we mark the respective frequencies on the vertical axis, that is y-axis. We construct rectangles taking the class intervals as the basis and the corresponding frequencies as the heights, such that the rectangles touch either. Now, after writing on the x-axis and y-axis, we make rectangles taking the class intervals as the basis, means we will make the rectangle taking x-axis as the base of the rectangle and the corresponding frequencies as the heights, and with that rectangles when we are making, the height of the rectangle is taken according to the frequency given, and such rectangles touch each other. There is no space between these bars, you can say, or rectangles. They are touched to one another. Here you can see in the example that heights of the student in centimeter is given and number of girls of class 7th is given. Now you can see that yes, heights in centimeter is taken on horizontal axis, that is x-axis, a number of girls of class 7th are taken in on along vertical axis, that is y axis. After writing that, you will make the rectangles. Here you can see that base of the rectangles are taken. This is the base of all the rectangles. They are taken along class intervals only. And this height, all the height of this rectangle is this, height of this rectangle is, they will represent them according to the frequencies given. Yes. This is how we represent or draw histogram graphically. Dear students, please copy all this in your regular CW. Yes, you can draw the graph also. No need to draw the very small linings, only you will represent as you can see in this graph, so that you understand properly what are the different types of graphs, what is the difference between each graph. Thank you.